friends, welcome to Hudson Valley Knits. I'm Amy. Thank you for joining me. Today is Sunday, March 2nd, 2014. This is episode 15, and I have not named it yet. I mean, that should be the name. It's been 2 weeks. I know I was doing every week for a while, and I'll do every week if I can. If not, I'm doing every other week. I can't, the past couple of weeks have been really crazy, so I couldn't do it last weekend. I actually was working all weekend. I have a big project going on for work. And when I wasn't working, I was just, I didn't want to go through all the work of setting up the podcast and whatnot. But here I am today. I'll do my best to do it every week, but I actually, I just don't want to promise anything. I'm not keeping an official schedule. Let's leave it at that. So, I've got some good stuff to show you. I wanted to start off by thanking everyone for your responses. Sandy had a great time on the podcast, and it was really fun having her there. It's not obviously going to be every time, but she said she would love to come back again. So, thank you. I mean, it really meant a lot to us. We had so much fun doing it. We had actually spent most of the day together. We'd gotten our nail, or was that the day before? But we had a great time. And so thank you for making her feel welcome. I know I can say she appreciated it. And I look forward to doing it again with Sandy because she's a good friend and she's a blast. But I might do it with other friends. I have a lot of knitting friends. And one of my best friends in the whole world, I just taught her how to knit, Mary Jean. And I've been friends since first grade. She also goes to the knitting group now, and she's making her first pair of socks. So maybe we'll have Mary Jean come over one day. I don't know. We'll see. So some announcements, administrative stuff. I wanted to bring up again the fundraiser for the ASPCA. It's actually from the Fibertown podcast. I'm donating a prize as well to help give you an incentive to donate. So it's basically, what's the person's name? Her name is Maya. Selket Unravelry. She and her sister are doing the 5-Borough by Tour in New York City. And I think this fundraiser goes till April, but they are doing a fundraiser for this ride, and it's for the animals. And I only have the one animal, my bird, and I can't have cats and dogs. So this is my way of giving back and helping out these animals that don't have a home or a voice. And so if you can find it in your heart, just $5, we'll give you 5 entries towards a prize. And here is what I am donating. It's Lorna's Laces, Soulmate. It's a beautiful color. The colorway is rainbow. It would have been great for the Suburban Stitchers Rainbow Along, but what are you going to do? It's too late for that, I think. I'm not sure when it ends, but... And I love her podcast, don't you? She's so great. I like her. So please stop by the Fibertown podcast. All the details are there. I think I have a detail thread in the Hudson Valley Knits group as well. Another thing I want to bring up is, because I know I have some new viewers, but I decided late last year to do a knit along that's going to last the whole year. And I'm calling it the Senior Love Along. And what I'm doing is I'm asking people to make washcloths. And at the end of the year, during the holidays, they'll be handed out as gifts to seniors in homes in the area. Now, it started because, well, there's a whole long story. I used to work in a nursing home, so I know how lonely these people get. And how sad some of them are, and how little things mean so much to them. So last year, instead of a Christmas party, my coworkers in my, not my department, but my team, my boss's team, we decided to forego our Christmas party and use the afternoon to volunteer in the local area. And we ended up going to the local Salvation Army, and they asked us to help them put together little packages, gift packages to give to the seniors in the nursing homes in the Stamford, Connecticut area. And the reason I decided to do this is because, and not a reflection on the people or the companies that gave, because at least they gave something, but the gifts were shoddy at best. And there was nothing with some heartfeltness, I felt. And so I figured I was just starting. I just started. I think I had a couple of episodes on iTunes. I've been doing it on YouTube a while, but I figured even if I could get the 100 members that had joined my group to do 2 washcloths during the year, we could get 200, and that's how many they said they would need for the local area, is 200 washcloths. So if you would like to join us, the only thing I ask is that it be 100% cotton. And yeah, I ask that you hold on to them. So I have no place to really store them. So please don't mail me anything. Well, you can't because you don't know my address right now. But I'm not going to collect them until towards the end of the year. And I'll be coordinating that with the local Salvation Army. Because that's where I'm going to bring them, or hopefully maybe they won't mind if we just send them to them. But maybe I should get them here just to show them, and I don't know. We'll see. We got plenty of time. So that's my big knit along. I'm also trying to come up with some ideas for another knit along in the group. I tried to make it so that it kind of can be used in other knit alongs, because honestly, I don't do a lot of knit alongs because I just, I want to knit what I want to knit at the time, and I don't like to feel pressure. So that's something I got to think about, but we're due for another one, and of course another giveaway. So it's not going to be super easy if I'm going to give away a prize, but I'll think about it. I have a couple of ideas. Maybe I'll throw them out there, but we'll talk about that later in Knitty Talk. How's that? All right, so those are my announcements. So let's get into the works in progress. I have only one new project on the needle, so I'm just going to start with my spinning whip. And this I showed you when I was at Sandy's. I'm doing it on my Trindle. I'm really loving this. This is a joy to spin after my experience with the Into the Whirl 50% merino and silk that I spun, and I showed that to you last time. Don't get me wrong, it's a gorgeous fiber, but it was a mistake spinning it on a spindle because the silk is so long and strong, and it was so hard to draft, and it came out really rustic. So I will make that mistake again. Anytime I'm spinning anything with silk, and I'll most likely do it on my Hanson mini spinner. But this is BFL. It's from Unwind Yarn Company, and it's called Stop and Smell the Poppies. I love the color. I love the way it's spinning. It's just a complete relaxing joy to spin. And I'm just spinning along. Every once in a while I pick it up. It's sitting on my desk near my computer, and I just kind of spin a little, and then I put it down, and that's how it goes. So this is my one. Not sure what it will be. Maybe if I can 3-ply it, maybe I could make a pair of socks. That would be, it doesn't have nylon in it, but it is BFL, which is supposed to be a good sock yarn. I've never 3-plied before except for Navajo chain ply, but I don't know, we'll see. So here's the rest of the fiber. And I will, if I 3-ply it, I will of course put it on my Hanson bobbins and ply it from there, and probably ply it on the Hanson and not on a spindle, because I did not find spindle plying quite an exciting task. And part of that might be because I don't have a good kind of lazy Kate to use. All right, so Next work in progress is the socks that I am test knitting, and I wanted to talk about these a little more. I felt really terrible about this, a little bad about this. So Amelia Putri is from the Philippines, and she designed a pair of socks that I noticed on Instagram. And I asked, have you published them? I love these. I'd love to knit them. And she's like, oh, would you be a test knitter? I want to publish them. I said, sure. So she sent me the pattern, and I actually have already sent back my feedback. And so as far as I know, they are not published yet. But I kind of just dove right into knitting them, and I didn't really pay attention to the thoughts behind the pattern. And I also realized I was pronouncing it terribly. I kept forgetting what they were called. And so I just want to read you about this pattern. So her name is Amelia Putri, and on Ravelry she is Pappy Put. And she said these are cuff down socks with simple lace motifs that were inspired by the Krakatoa eruption in Indonesia, a huge disaster that happened in 1883. This pattern is to commemorating the 36,000 victims of that disaster. And just because it happened a long time ago does not take away from the beauty of commemorating the victims. We kind of like, we all pull together and band together when there's catastrophes, and it's a beautiful thing in light of tragedy. But kind of, it's good to once in a while remember those of a different era. So I was really touched by that. So these are the Krakatoa socks. And I am on the second sock, and I've already turned the heel. And I am almost done with the first pattern repeat, and it's kind of hard to see because of mine. So we're getting across the foot. You can hardly tell. So now the pattern calls for 2 of the lace repeats down the sock, the foot of the sock, and here's a beautiful pattern which I've shown you many times. But I did 3, and here's the one I finished. And this I actually blocked out so you could see the beautiful lace pattern. So you could see I did 3 pattern repeats on the foot, and it made it the perfect size for me. And honestly, if you needed to make it longer, you could just stop and make the toe part a little longer, whatever please you. But these are gorgeous socks. I also would have done an extra repeat on the leg itself, and I would have had plenty of yarn to do that. But that's okay. I'm looking forward to wearing these. And because it's the second sock, always flies for me because I'm more familiar with the pattern. So I think I'm going to be, hi Birdie, I think I'm going to be done with these soon. I really love it. Really had fun with it. And yeah, so that's these socks. And as soon as I find out when they are published, I'll let you know. And hopefully she'll have them for sale on Ravelry. I don't know. She's not very active on Ravelry, and I know she has a yarn shop, a local yarn shop where she lives in the Philippines, and an online shop as well. So this could be just, for her shop. I don't know. And it's living in my Amy Beth bag, my fat squirrel bag. I love these bags, and this fabric is gorgeous. She's had some great fabrics out. I love the butterfly ones she's making for the Pipeline Knitting Retreat. I'm so jealous. I want one. I want one. And it's a sweater size bag. That's what I've been waiting for. I'm waiting for the right sweater size bag to purchase from her. Alright, so we'll stick with socks. So I have a sock that's living in my Tangerine Design bag with the monkeys all over it. I thought it was really cute. And here's the inside, Tangerine Designs. I love her bags. Perfect for sock knitting. And I finally cast on my Collie Wobble socks. This is not in in color, but I printed it out and I stuck it in the bag. These are the socks by Emily Estrada. She is Emily from Fibertown Podcast. She put this pattern out a while ago. I don't know if there's a 2013, so it was last year, but I've been dying to make these, but I wanted to finish some other stuff first. So I did cast it on just like an itty bitty part of the cuff. I just started it today. But I'm so itching to do this, and this is the Desert Vista Dye Works yarn, and the I think it's English Garden or Country Garden colorway. Oops, Cottage Garden colorway. And I wanted to do this for Silly Fru of the Fancy Pants Knitting Podcast. I've been wanting to do her Suck It to Winter knit along, where you got to knit something in like an eye-popping color. And I think it was over in February, but I'm not sure. So I'm a month late, Silly Fru, but this was for you, and I can see how this would really pick you up. So even just knitting a couple of rounds of the cuff, I'm just in love with it. And I love the colors. I love seeing how they come out with the pattern. I can't wait to knit up this pattern. I've been wanting to knit this pattern up for a while. I've seen a lot of other people knit it, and I just think it's a cute pattern, especially for a heavily variegated yarn. It just adds a little twist to it, and it comes out really cool. So looking forward to that. And one more finished object. This is one that I've been working mostly on all during the past couple of weeks. I decided it was time to get my butt in gear and knit more seriously on this shawl that I'm making for my aunt who lives in North Carolina. It is the Event Horizon shawl by Donna Draconis, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. So I have doubled my stitches recently, so the rows are growing a lot slower, but I'm in a transition circle pattern. She calls them circles. I'm in a transition one. It's just going to be like a little diamond. But here's the one I just finished. The circle I just finished. Yeah, you can see that pretty good, I think. And here's the one before it. Can you see that? I can't tell if you can see it. I hope so. Trying to spread it down. There's the center. It's just a great pattern. I really love it. It's not a challenge for me at all because I love lace knitting. And I just started the second skein. So I'm doing a 4 skein version. And I just started the second skein. And it's caper sock yarn. It's a beautiful superwash cashmere nylon blend. And here's the second color. It's got a little more brown to it. And it's actually got some brown speckles in it. Whereas the first color was very aqua and brighter. This one has a little darker. And so it's a nice subtle gradient. And I'm really, really enjoying this. And this is basically what I've done is I've made the rule that when I'm sitting at my desk, I work on this. If I'm not sitting at my desk, I can work on my socks, or I have that Carson throw that I've been working on here and there. And I soon will be kind of dedicating myself to that my next shawl pattern. I showed it to you last time, but I haven't done any work on it. But I'm just about ready to get serious on writing that one up, so that will be coming up soon. This project lives in one of my Joanna Spring bags. I have a lot of her bags. I really like her bags. I like the farmy prints. There we go. And, but really it doesn't live in a bag so much because it's just on my desk. So that is all the works in progress. That's all I've worked on this week. I have other stuff, but I'm not going to show it to you because I didn't work on it. So let's go to finished objects. So here is finally, let me get it. I finished my son's socks. Finally finished Joey's socks. He was up last weekend, but they weren't done in time, so I probably won't see him again until we go upstate for my father's birthday, which is not next weekend, but the weekend after. Pa's birthday's on the 13th. So, this is my first time knitting with the Croy sock yarn, and I liked it a lot. It's a good yarn. It's very splitty, and I was knitting it on size 2.25 square DPNs. By square I mean like the square needle, square shape, so they're not round and smooth. And I liked knitting with those needles a lot, except for the fact that they were so pointy they hurt me a lot. And also that because this yarn is so splitty, it was ripping up the yarn. And if you drop something, this is so splitty, it's really hard to pick up drop stitches. And I actually did have one that I found in the first sock I made after I bound off. I found a drop stitch like all the way down here. So I sewed that in. And I gave them, they're super wash, but I gave them a soak just to soften them up a bit for him. And give him a nice shape. And I'll give these to him when I see him. I hope he likes them. I know he will. Alright, so these are Joey's socks. Last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago when I was at Sandy's house, I showed you one of the washcloths I was working on. So here, that is finished. Now, this one is a lot bigger than the last one I made. I decided to make them a little bigger, just so that it covers the hand. So if they're washing themselves, their whole hand will fit behind it. And you do whatever you want, but I just decided to make, going forward, the rest of mine are going to be at least this size. And this was just a knit purl pattern from one of my stitch dictionaries. I bound off with that cable bind off where you knit one and then knit two together with the one on the needle and the one you just knit. I think it's cabled, and then you kind of knit another one and then you knit those two together. I think it's called a cabled cast off. And what it did is it made it very flared. I can see this being a great cast off for like a shawl, because you want it to be able to spread out, but not for this. So the next one I'm just going to do a regular bind off so it's more squared. But not a big problem. I also did the slip stitches so that the edges looked really nice. So that's washcloth number 2 for the senior love along. And finally, so last time I showed you my Into the World fiber that I spun in 50% silk, 50% merino. And I think I mentioned that I want to make fingerless mitts with them, and I did. So I actually, they look very rustic because I did a terrible job spinning, but I actually kind of like it. I like that. And let me tell you, these are really warm. It's been freezing here, and I've been wearing these. They look a little fuzzed here because I've been wearing them while I drive. They kept my hands really warm. So I spun 2 ounces, and I made the first one a little too big. And I told myself I would just spin a little more for the second one, and I didn't. I just made it shorter, and it's obviously shorter, which I'm a little kind of like, I shouldn't have done that. It's a good inch shorter. And I'm a little disappointed about that, but basically what I do is I just pull this one up a little, and you can't see it under the cuff of my jacket, so I'm fine with it. My daughter loves them. She's coveting them. So I have 2 ounces left that I'm going to spin up on my Hanson, and maybe my daughter will get a little gift. I don't know yet. I keep saying that, but really it's my son that has to like walk all over the city because he lives in Harlem, and he's constantly walking to the bus, walking to the subway, walking from the train station, walking, and it's cold. So, and he lost the scarf I made him. I'm so upset. He left it on the train one day. He felt terrible. So I have to make him a new scarf. Maybe I'll make, you know what, maybe I'll make him a pair of mitts to match, because I think I'll use my brown homespun that I have upstairs. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I think I got 8 ounces of that. Anyway, that's spinning. Oh, you know what I wanted to show you? So the patterns that I've done, including the new shawl that I'm going to be writing up, are based on or inspired by one of my tarot decks. And not to get too much into the tarot, but I read tarot cards. It's just a hobby. It's not something I do like for a living. But one of my favorite decks is the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. And she's actually a lovely lady that I'm very fortunate to be friends with. But she designed this deck, and these mitts were inspired by the Elder of Air card. See, here he is. And I decided mitts for him because I could see him wanting mitts while he plays his little flute. And the silk and the sky colors and the colors from the vest, and I just thought these would be perfect for him. So I just figured I'd mention that. My Guardian of Air shawl, which I'm not wearing, it's upstairs, but that I made for her. I've worn it before. It's the one with the beaded art yarns and the silk mohair splash. Gorgeous. And the one that's coming up next is based on the what would be the 8 of Cups, but here it's the 8 of Water in this deck, and that's this card right here, Against the Current, hence the name Against the Current, because it shows the woman swimming upstream. And I'm not going to get into the meanings of the cards or anything, but I just want to show you my inspiration for my designs, and I'm going to show you actually a fisherman's sweater I'm working on that's also inspired by one of these cards, but I'll show you that in a minute. So those are my finished objects. I have some stash. So before I go into the yarn stash, I wanted to show you something I bought the other day at Barnes & Noble. That's where we go for our knitting meetup group. Me and the lovely ladies, we go every Thursday. And we were walking out, and I saw this bag for Easter. It's supposed to be for kids, but I had to have it as a project bag. Look at how cute is that. And look at the back with the bunny tail. It's a little pom-pom bunny tail. and the gingham print inside. It's all open. I was thinking I could maybe sew a little snap or something. But I just loved it. It was $10. It says Peter Rabbit on it. And it was so cute. So I'm going to use this for sock projects. Just had to show it to you. You should go. If you like it, I got it at Barnes & Noble for $10. So I got a $50 gift certificate to Knit Picks for Christmas this past year. And I decided to cash in on the sock sale. So they're having a 20% off sock sale, and they're discontinuing Felici yarns. Felici. This is Sweetheart. I'll probably knit these up next year for Valentine's Day. I was definitely very pink oriented because we just celebrated Valentine's Day, and my anniversary is in February. This is Foxglove. Now this looks white, but it's actually kind of like a blushy pink. It's really beautiful. And it's another Valentine's kind of day color. And finally what I got was this. This is their diadem fingering weight yarn. It is really, really soft and halo-y. I'm really like it. And I might knit up a shawl with this, because this has a beautiful drape that I love. So I got 2 colors. This one is called, what is it called? Garnet and Moonstone. Now can you tell I love silvery grays? I really do. Garnet and Moonstone, and I think they would be perfect together as a shawl. And I'm definitely gonna. Oh, it is really soft. I like it a lot. It is 50% baby alpaca and 50% mulberry silk, and it's 329 yards per 100 grams. And I like it. It's a good one. So I wanted to show you what I've been knitting up my washcloths with. So I bought a bunch of cotton yarn on eBay a while ago. $3 each. I bought 21 because it was a good deal. So it's basically all different colors of this cotton classic mercerized cotton by Stacy Charles. Takai Stacy Charles. So I got a whole bunch of colors, and there's greens and blues and more blues and purples and blues. I got a lot of blues. I also got some mauvey pinks and more blues. And I got one yellow. Can you tell I like pinks and blues? So here is basically all the cotton that I'll be using. It doesn't use a whole, for a nice size washcloth, you don't need a whole skein. So when I'm completed a lot, I think I'll try an entrelac one with some of the leftover different colors. Right? So that is all the enhancements this week. This I bought a while ago, by the way. I bought this like, I think in the beginning, it was actually Susan B. Anderson's D-stash, one of her big D-stashes. I saw this up there for $3 each, and I couldn't pass it up. So I bought more than enough to do all my washcloths this year, and maybe some more for myself and my family or whatever. So that was a great deal. Now for Knitty Talk, I got a couple of things. So I wanted to talk to you about sweater knitting, because I have been watching my favorite podcasts out there, and there are some really amazing sweater knitters. And I don't know about you, but I am in complete awe at how fast these women are kicking out sweaters, and really beautiful ones. Like a couple of weeks? Get out of here. How do you do that? So I'm not a big sweater knitter. I've knit sweaters. I've knit, you know, my Rhinebeck sweater was a really intricate Fair Isle sweater that I knit on size 2 needles. I'm not going to say I'll never do that again. I might do that again. And I knit a Icelandic yoke sweater out of some Lopi many, many years ago. And I knit another Fair Isle with like a worsted weight yarn which was a Philosopher wool kit. And I've knit some baby sweaters, but that's it. And this year, if you might remember, I did goals. And one of my goals is to knit at least 2 sweaters, one for myself and one for my husband. And my stretch goal is to knit a second one for myself. And I wanted to show you that. Let me put down my iPad because because I've been thinking about that lately, and I know I need to start knitting my sweaters. It's March, and I want them both to be done by Rhinebeck, so I have to be realistic. So I have to tell you a little story. So years ago, I bought some yarn. I've been, because my husband once asked for a sweater. And how can I say no to him? Because he's a wonderful man. I love him very much. And he should have a special sweater for me. So I ordered Bain yarn from Alice Starmore. Enough to make a sweater for him and a sweater for me. And he's a big guy. You know, he's not a small guy. He's a big guy. And I measured him. And I did my big gauge swatch. And I started knitting. In the round, bottom up, I started knitting an Erin's sweater for him. And I picked the stitch patterns, and I wrote up the pattern for it based on his size, and my inspiration was this. You know, actually this reminds me of my father, who's actually turning 78 in a couple of weeks. He's always out in the river in his canoe, and this reminds me of him. But this is my inspiration. It's the Elder of Water, and it's a fisherman's sweater. So let me show you what I had done up till now. This is basically what I had finished. Let's see the patterns. Right now it's just on a cable. It's just on a Knit Picks cable. And the reason it is, and I think I threw it on the cable like in 2011. I don't know. I'd have to look at my notes on Ravelry. But the reason I did that was because I asked him one day to try it on, and it fit him tight as a glove. And he has it like a little belly, a big belly, and it didn't look good at all. And all my in my mind, I don't know what I did wrong, but I was so upset. I threw it in the closet, and it's been sitting there, and I know that I must deliver. Now, I'd also like to say that knitting cables is a slow and arduous process. I don't knit with a cable needle, and it's still slow, and it also hurts my hands. My hands get tired easily when I'm knitting anything with cables, but he wanted a cable sweater. So my idea is for him, first of all, I'm going to knit it in pieces this time. I'm not going to knit his in the round. I'm keeping this. This is going to be mine now. I'm going to keep this for myself. And this is that stretch, because this is not going to be my Rhinebeck sweater this year. I have something else in mind for that. But if I finish Mark's sweater and mine, then I'll finish this up, and it'll be mine. And this is like a good gauge swatch, right? But what I'm going to do for Mark, because he's a big guy, I think less is more in that case. And I'm going to probably just do a center of this popcorn stitch, I think it's sometimes called, or this basic cable, honeycomb popcorn. I'll do like this much in the center, all honeycomb, and I'll do a honeycomb down the back. And then on either side, I'm thinking I'll just do these horseshoe cables. Maybe this. He really liked this one, but I don't know. I don't know. I think the horseshoe cables. And I'm going to knit that up for him, and it's time to start getting that in motion. I'm going to remeasure him if he'll bear it one more time, because every time I say, I need to measure you again, he's just like, again? But I just need to make sure. He might have gained or lost some weight, right? So we need to check that. And I'm going to probably cast on, I'll start with the back, and I'll cast on his sweater. And I hope it goes really quick. And this would be the first time I've knit a sweater in pieces. Actually, no. I knit a sweater in pieces years and years and years ago when my grandma was still alive. and back before knitting was ever charted, or at least here in America it wasn't, and it got eaten up by moths, and I ended up throwing it away. But it was a cable knit sweater with creamy white cable wool, and I basically bought it for myself when I graduated college. I had just graduated college. I had a full-time job, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I actually had money. And my first full-time paycheck, I went out and bought the yarn, and I started making it. And also, I never seamed it together because my grandma died shortly after that. And I used to count on her so much when I knit. And I never seamed anything before, and I didn't know how to do it. I knew Grandma did, but she was gone now. So all the pieces to it sat in my little knitting basket for years. And finally, when I moved here to this home, many years later, I went to pack it. It was in the closet at this point, and it was all moth-eaten. And I don't know, I threw it away. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I did. Anyway, but I'm very confident I can do it. I have the seaming class on Craftsy I've taken, and I also took the Design Your Own Aran Sweater by Carla, and I can't remember her last name, but she's the editor for like Vogue Knitting, and it's a great class, and I'm going to make my honey his sweater. So that is one. The second sweater I'm making, and I know I've brought this up, but I'm not sure if I showed you the new yarn. So I ordered yarn from Miss Babs to make the pumpkin ale sweater, but I chose pewter. And this is going to be my Rhinebeck sweater. The other one's going to be my honey's Rhinebeck sweater, because he came to Rhinebeck last year. We brought his mom, and he had a wonderful time. So he's coming back, so he needs a Rhinebeck sweater too. But this is what I'm making. It's Pumpkin Ale by Isolde Teague. It was really a tough choice. I have so many sweater patterns that I love. And I actually even have sweater designs in my head that I'd like to put into life. But this yarn is like super squishy and nice and soft and plump. And I can't wait to knit with it. But Mark is first, because my husband has been the most patient man in the world. So that's what's been on my mind lately. That's why I was kind of struggling with the ideas for a knit-along, which is another thing I wanted to talk about. So I like to do another knit-along, and there's a couple of things about knit-alongs that I feel about knit-alongs. I know there has to be a beginning and an end, but I hate feeling rushed or like I have deadlines. And I don't know about you, but I got enough deadlines at work. I don't want to feel pressured in my knitting. But, you know, if we're going to give away prizes, there has to be an end date. So, and I will find a skein of yarn, a nice skein of yarn from my stash. That will be the prize. And I had an idea, and I don't want it to be overwhelming for anybody. It will be nice and relaxed, and we'll have plenty of time. How about a Fair Isle knit-along? And here's the thing. You might say, I don't do Fair Isle, but I was thinking, if you're into it, and I might put a poll out there, we'll just do a Fair Isle pair of mitts or a Fair Isle hat. And I will do virtual knit nights, and I can help anybody that needs help with their knitting in the virtual knit nights. So maybe we'll do a once a month virtual Fair Isle night or something like that, where I can help people having issues, and we can do like a start off one where I'll show everyone, we'll cast on, and then we'll do the first row together or something like that. And then people like me who have experience, or any other people that have experience with Fair Isle, can come and help the people that are new to it or might not be as comfortable with it, and a pair of mitts or a hat is fairly simple and won't take a long time, so there's not a lot of pressure, and it would be like a 3 or 4 month knit along. What do you think? Let me know. So I'm trying to finish my aunt's circular shawl, pie shawl, by by Easter, because I'm going to visit them in Easter, and I want to bring it with me. And after that, I'm like free, you know. And I have a lot of Jameson DK yarn that I can use. I also have leftovers from my Rhinebeck sweater, my Fair Isle sweater I made for Rhinebeck this year, and so I'm down with that. I'm down with that, and it doesn't have to be one pattern, and you could even just use 2 colors for the whole thing, and that would be beautiful. So that's my idea for the next knit along. The pros are, like I said, it would be plenty of time. You could learn a new skill. The cons are, I don't know of any other knit-alongs going on that you could combine this with. And I hate, like, you know, I'd like for it to be able to be used with other groups, because there's a lot of great knit-alongs going on, and there's a lot of great prizes to be had, but if everybody's doing something different, then you're going to miss out on something. So I'm just putting it out there. Reply to the thread. Let me know what you think about that. And if you don't think it's a good idea, it's fine. We'll think of something else, and we could still do the Fair Isle Learning virtual knit night. I'm bringing up virtual knit nights because I've done 2 so far through Blooming Knitters, Knitting Blooms podcast. And it was really fun. It was so nice to meet other people all over the place, and it was really fun. And so I did it twice through her podcast. She has a thread called Virtual Knit Night, and she kind of gives the dates, and it's really kind of flexible. She tries to accommodate, and I encourage you to go sign up for it. I'd love to meet you through that. And like I said, if you guys want to do something Fair Isle together, we could do ours once a month or so, just to help others that might be having problems and just focus on Fair Isle. Or we could just do a sit and knit. It's up to you guys. I would love to do it though. And yeah, like that. We did it through Google Hangouts, and it was really pretty good. So, yeah, so that's about it. I don't have anything else to talk about. I want to thank you for sticking around for the whole show, and I hope to be back next week. We'll see. And I'll see you around. Have a great week, guys. Stay warm.